Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Doug Nelson. I think you know that. And thank you so much for being here and being part of this very special event. In the past, what we've done as a symposium is to showcase our research. Some of you may not be familiar with our research studies, but I love the little expression that James coined, which is we do what's called little r research. It's research done by therapists with a very clinically relevant basis. We're looking at things that affect how you might treat your clients on a day-to-day basis. Part of what we are in our little research idea is to make all of you be little researchers when you're in your clinic room and thinking, and the inquiry is just as much a part of the treatment process as technique. It's really a different model, a way of looking at things. Years ago, when I first started teaching and when I was a student, really the paradigm is the sage on the stage paradigm, right? That the person up here has knowledge that the people out there don't have, and it's all about imparting that knowledge, and it's a pyramid and everything filters down. And at some point, I really rejected that model. For me, I wanted to flip it around and come from a totally different perspective, which is everything flowing up. I have surrounded myself with really amazing people who are all diving into different aspects, and I could say that about the NMT teaching staff and also about the clinic staff. Everybody's focusing in different areas, and there are all of those different areas. Those people know more about it than I do, and that's the way it should be.
If you were addressing issues of muscular stiffness or working out a contraction knot, you were really looking at something that nobody else in healthcare either had the time or the expertise or even the interest in treating. No matter who you are or what you do, whether you're a mat practitioner trying to activate muscles again, or you're a rolfer trying to release fascia restrictions, we all share one thing in common, and that's people come to us with pain, and they have questions about why they're in this predicament, what they can do to get out, what's wrong with their body. And to address those issues takes only one skill, and that's communication.
There are literally hundreds of forms that can be used.
You should be in tight enough that you're not like this, unless you're wanting to get that pressure. And oftentimes, these clients have never had massage, like you said before. They've never had it, and so they don't know. So you've got to start educating from the get-go.
Look at about 10 reps from the front, 10 from the side, 10 from the back. By the time they do 30 of these, they're going to be pretty tired. By that time, you're going to see what you want to see, not what they want you to see.
All right, for the next hour, I am your mediator for the panel discussion. It's important to realize a couple of things. We're a peer group here. Just because these guys are on a panel doesn't set them apart necessarily, except for the fact that we represent PNMT, all right? This is definitely a room of peers, so we want to really emphasize that your participation, especially in this panel discussion, will help to give it some depth and breadth.
And so my assumption was that they were coming to me because they had pain, but their number one concern was that they had a high right shoulder because their chiropractor told them they had a high right shoulder. So, I treated their pain and, went completely away, but the guy was kind of pissed. He's like, my shoulder's still high. So as far as, figuring out exactly what it is that they're coming in for is really important.
And so if you start with little r research and something that is not intimidating to you, just start somewhere. I think that's the vision of what Doug is saying, is there's just so little out there, but we have to start somewhere. It can be as little or as big as you want it to be. Start at your comfort zone, and it really does fuel the fire to say, well, that made me think of something else, and that makes me think of something else. So to jump from little r to big R, you got to start at little r.
And I think in PNMT, that's what we want to foster, is the process and problem solving. So maybe a round of applause for these guys up here on our panel.
As we're sitting here watching a whole room of independent private practitioners coming together, we can see in you the need to be here, the need to have the opportunity to bounce ideas onto other professionals, the opportunity to be able to validate what you already intuitively know these things, but hearing somebody else say it is giving you that permission, it's giving you that validation that, yeah, that's it.
So this presentation, I'm going to attempt to kind of give you an overview of a number of different theories pertaining to whether they be myofascial chains, slings, connections, various types of communications. Essentially, the purpose of what I'm going to be doing is to expose you to the different people and essentially some of their ways of looking at the body as a whole and kind of the continuity between them. Everybody's kind of got their own treatment philosophy. The people that have developed some of these systems, essentially their whole treatment philosophy revolves around these type of connections and how they want to see in the body. And this is a little bit different than the way that we wound up looking at it within a strict PNMT sense.
Most people will understand, and those people, when the light bulb goes off of, oh my gosh, I didn't think about them not getting paid, that this is part of their paycheck, those people are the ones, those are the ones that we're really kind of targeting, and they're the ones that are very receptive to it, and they're like, oh my gosh, of course I'm going to pay for this missed appointment.
But they need to grab a coffee cup off of the top shelf. They're going to figure out a way of doing that, whether that being elevating the shoulder or extending the back. They're going to go ahead and do that. So you go ahead and treat them. You get this great range of motion. You measure it once, and now they go ahead and go to do that activity. So they're going to go back to immediately that same movement pattern. All right. So when we do some type of any type technique, whether it's NMT type technique, whether it's a spring stretch technique, we've got a window of time that we can then have them reinstill that as the new motor program.
If somebody was unable to get their heel to the butt with too much and they felt that strain in their knee, that's the very first thing I do. Even though it's a depressor and a retractor of the shoulder, we can slacken it with elevation and retraction.
But it is still important, I believe, to be introduced to training. Because when you're in massage school, different people are going to be drawn to different things. Some people want to be craniosacral therapists. Some people want to be neuromuscular therapists. Some people want to do just full body. Some people want to work for a chiropractor. Some people want to work in spas. We all have a different thing we want to do with this training, that basic training.
We are not just massage therapists anymore. We are more advanced in our careers. We're more advanced in our techniques. We've introduced ourselves to the modality of precision muscular mobilization. So being able to take that and create a new idea about how is that going to become me.
So I did 3 surveys. I did a pre-procedure survey, checking current symptoms, a post-procedure survey, checking current symptoms about within 3 days after the procedure, and a dental survey.
Healthcare practitioners, be it PT, OT, whomever they're working with, and educate them about what we do, and be able to educate them in a way that they can understand and realize that it's a benefit to their patient, and also to learn from them as well.
It's interesting because they know that I'm both. And I'm there as a PT, I have my PT hat on, but they'll come to me and say, no, I know you're a massage therapist, I want you to do this with this person because I know you can do the manual therapy. Well, so can you, so the need is obvious.
Turn to the right, turn to the left, and which way do you feel, without pushing it, you just kind of feel which way is easier for that client. So you want to get the TL to rotate right.
We need to know our role there, and are we going to be a support system to their PT and try to facilitate what they're doing, which is appropriate sometimes, or are we going to be serving our own agenda?
I'll say something like a soft tissue experts, or that we're in the business of enhancing and restoring people's health. Because in that way, and then they ask, well, how do you do that? And then I will say through massage therapy and neuromuscular therapy. Because sometimes if you say, hi, I'm Kirk Nelson, I'm a massage therapist, you have so many preconceptions of what that is, it doesn't matter what you say after that.
Again, it's that communication, finding out what their goal is, and if they're expecting to lay on the table and get a massage, you want everything treated, but you also have this issue. How can we do that?
if I had to do a basic massage every day, all day long, I would be very bored. But this makes it exciting. You get clients that have problems. You have to problem solve. You have to think it through. You have to think of where to go. And I try to do a lot, too, of educating the client along the way so that they can take better care of themselves, because so many people know so little about their bodies.
Tomorrow when we're done, don't stop this dialogue. We should just continue this. There's email, there's texting, there's Facebook that's got stuff going on. You know, let's keep this dialogue going. So a little round of applause for these guys and for yourselves.
We've been doing our research studies. I think it probably started in '99, actually. Our intentions were really good. All we wanted to do was learn. We wanted to understand things more deeply. And we learned as we went.
Whatever you find out, tell somebody. Whenever you take a SOAP note, that's research. Whatever you find out, whatever you feel underneath your fingertips, share with somebody, talk to your peers, let them know. It's ongoing, it's changing all the time. And I can tell you this much, that as our troops are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with the IEDs and their burns, they're overwhelming the system, they're overwhelming the VA. So this type of research is all of a sudden being elevated because they need to know. The doctors are going, what do we do with this?
In our third panel discussion, what we are looking at is a very complex problem, which is low back pain. And since low back pain is such a complex problem, we want to see it from as many angles as possible.
For the past couple years in my studies, I've been really fascinated by how a patient's perspective and ideas about their problem may inform their management or coping strategies.
Isn't it amazing that we have people from really disparate professions and we're hearing the same things in many ways, right? Isn't it nice to know that you're in the same pond with a lot of other people and the same struggles, right? That we struggle with are also other people's struggles. As I told you, in some of the research studies that we've done, it's the mistakes that actually taught us more than our successes. You don't really learn anything from a success. It sort of confirms what you thought. But the mistakes are things that really are little windows and opportunities. So you have to be willing to fail. The point here is that once we find out something, like neuroscience stuff now and the matrix and all about the brain and pain, people tend to throw out everything that happened before that. That's not the way this process works. In the face of something new, keep your feet grounded. Don't throw out everything that you know, especially if you've been working with people and what you do works. It's all good. Build on top of it. Don't throw it away. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure for me. I hope you feel really great about the process. It's just so confirming to, as I was telling my wife, for me, it's so cool just that other people are also interested in what I'm interested in. That's just a really confirming thing. So thank you to all of you for taking the time to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.